and welcome to any new viewers to my YouTube channel. So this is where I talk all about my knitting, projects that I'm lovingly working on, projects that I have finished, and of course the long list of projects that I would like to cast on. So I hope you are comfortable, have a cup of tea and you're knitting, and sit back and let's share my knitting journey with you. You can follow me on Instagram as Unwind and Knit with me, and I have also just started up a Facebook page which is Unwind and Knit, and Unwind and Knit with me. You will find me there. I have just had some graphics designed for me, so I have been doing a few small posts, just playing around with some of the graphics I had done. But my plan with Instagram and Facebook is to post a little bit more often, but actually post progress on what I'm knitting, not just my my logo and the graphics that have been designed. So that is my plan. I will be posting a bit more on actual knitting and my progress. So hop on over and join our Facebook group and Instagram if you haven't already, and I will leave the links below. And we also have a Ravelry group which is also called Unwind and Knit with me, and we have a challenge for 2022, which is just about your challenges, what you are doing to challenge yourself this year in regards to your knitting, whether you're trying something new, a new technique, or whether your challenge is just to get through some of your stash, which seems to be the most popular challenge. Although I was on there a couple of days ago, and there's some lovely photos of people's knitting. A couple of ladies have photographed and posted their first steeking projects, and they're beautiful, and it's just so exciting to see what people are doing. So do jump over onto our Ravelry group if you like. I do draw prizes every 3 months. So the next prize that I will draw will be the end of June. And I just do a random selection of everybody that's posted in that group. So if you're in there more than twice, well then you'll get 2 entries. So yeah, pop over there. I thought I would just touch really quickly on an Instagram scam that's going on, because I haven't had it happen to me, although I have received messages on my Instagram asking people to go in and help them unlock their page, and I knew it just didn't sit right with me, and I deleted them, and I mentioned it to my daughter, and she said, "Mum, don't go near it, it's a scam." But I recently heard of another knitting podcaster in America, 100 Acre Wool, and she got scammed. So yeah, I just thought I'd mention that if you are on Instagram and you get a message from a so-called friend that is also following you to help unlock their Instagram page, stay away from it. It's a scam. Yeah, so I'm actually really excited today to tell you what I'm wearing, and I am going to insert a photograph. I won't stand up and model it, but I have finished my skirt, and I have been out and about this morning doing a few chores, and I'm wearing it and I love it. And I'll just remind you what it is if you can't remember, or if you're a new viewer. But I've knitted the West Village skirt by Selma, and Selma is from Little Big Knits, and I really want to thank her for this pattern, because I've always wanted to knit a skirt, and I'm absolutely thrilled with it. So I've showed this pattern. I've been doing it, it's probably over about the last 4 to 6 weeks. So that's it there, and I knitted mine in a wool acrylic blend, which I don't normally knit with acrylic blend, but I wanted that structure, and I am really happy with the end result. I'm also wearing an oldie but a goodie. I love this jersey. I've had it for quite a few years and I do wear it a lot. Our weather's cooling down over here in the southern hemisphere. We're in autumn and heading into our winter, and we're getting a few chilly mornings. So this jersey is a basic raglan by Hohi Locatelli. I've knitted this in just a real basic New Zealand wool. I can't remember the brand, but it's just a real everyday DK weight merino. It's a little bit oversized, but it's one of my favourites. It's a top down in the round basic raglan. I will leave the link below, but I will just insert a couple of photographs now of the complete outfit with my skirt and this jersey. And I've got to say, it's really rewarding to wear an outfit that is 100% made, handmade. So yep, I'll show you the photos, and I hope that I can encourage anybody out there that wants to knit a skirt. I hope I can encourage you to do it, because it was fun, it was easy, and super, super rewarding. So I'll just insert that photo now. Okay, there's my finished hand-knitted outfit. It's always a little bit uncomfortable modelling, as you can imagine. The photographs probably look a little bit awkward. My daughter takes the photos and the videos for me, but you get the basic idea. So yeah, once again, I want to thank Selma for putting that pattern out there, and I will leave the links below, and encourage anybody to also do their own skirt. The other thing I've mentioned quickly is I had one of my viewers point out to me that sometimes when she goes on to view my project notes, my show notes, that the edges cut off, and I racked my brain trying to work out what was happening, because on my devices it looked fine, and I got some friends to look on, and certain devices, some of the notes were cut down the side, they were cut off. And I asked somebody that's really good with computers what could be going wrong, and they suggested that I change the word processor that I was using to type up my show notes. So I was using one that's built into my Apple computer, and she said that doesn't always translate well. So I will I am going to change the way I type up my show notes. So I hope that helps, and if you have found that, I apologise. We've actually got to episode 20 before I've realised, so yeah, actually I don't think I said that. Today's Thursday the 19th of May, and this is episode 20. I'm all over the place this morning. I've actually had a busy morning, so it's just time to sit down and relax now, breathe. So I've talked about what I'm wearing. My skirt is a finished object. I do have one other finished object. So on my last episode, I showed you a ball of hand spun wool. That's what's left, so it's only a little ball now. But I got my wheel out after 10 years, and I had a bit of a play and did a bit of hand spinning. And it's a little bit uneven, and it's not quite the fingering weight that I was hoping for. It's more of a probably a 10 ply, but super soft. Was super happy with the way it came out. And after that podcast, I cast on this beanie. I have popped a little one-of-a-kind label on there because my daughter likes labels. So this is the beanie that I knitted out of my hand spun. I jumped onto Ravelry and I found this free pattern, and it's called the M Hat by M Knits. That's it there. I wanted just a basic beanie pattern, and I didn't seem to have one for more of a chunky yarn. So, and this one was super easy, and it's a free pattern, and I really enjoyed doing it. So that's the M hat by M Knits, and it's a free pattern on Ravelry. And there's my finished beanie. I'll get a bit close. I'm just super stoked with the way it turned out. Super happy with the colour, the colours. So that's just a 2x2 rib to about there, and the rest of it's just stocking stitch. So that's my second finished object, and I'm really happy with. And my next subject that I'm going to talk about is, before I get on to my whips, is what do you do when you knit something and it doesn't fit, or you don't like it, the fit isn't right, because I'm sure it happens to all of us. And I've got to say, for myself, I went through some of my hand knits from last year, and my ratio is probably 2 out of 10. 2 out of 10 finished objects that they just don't fit well, they don't look right, and I've put a lot of love into them and a lot of money on the yarn. What do you do with them? So what I did, my last couple of episodes, I knitted this amazing sweater called Ember, and you followed my journey, and you've seen the finished object, and I wore it a couple of times, and I didn't like it on me. It was too big, and I don't know what I was thinking, but I did the extra large, and it really was just too big. The shoulders hung down too low, and I like boxy, oversized garments, but this was just too boxy and oversized, and I didn't want it to go to waste. And I have a very dear friend who's a size or two bigger than me, so I gifted it to her, and she loves it and she wears it, and I'm super stoked. Like, I just giving my knitwear to somebody that is what we call knit worthy is really quite rewarding. But it's funny how things turn around, because she had also just finished a garment that it didn't fit her. It was actually a size or two too small. So she said to me, because she showed it to me, and I said, it's gorgeous, I love it. And she said, well, then it's for you, you can have it. So we literally swapped garments that we'd both finished around like the same week. She finished hers about the same week that I finished mine, and neither of us had any intention to gift the finished project, but it's just how it turned out. So she knitted this beautiful, it's called Lino, and I'm pretty sure it's Hohiloki Tally. I have shown you this pattern because I've wanted to knit it myself, but haven't got around to it. And when I had talked about this pattern, it inspired her to knit it. So it's a beautiful peachy colour, but it's got this lace work down the middle, lace panel, and then just some ribbing on the bottom. It's got 3/4 sleeves, which I love. It's got a wide neckline, which I love. I will try to get a photograph of me wearing it because it looks super on, and it was almost like this was meant for me, and the one that I knitted was meant for her. So I just thought I'd share that little story with you, that you know, nothing is wasted. If you knit something and you don't love it, gift it, because I'm sure most of us have someone in our lives that that understand and appreciate hand knits. So that was my story with my Ember. Now has a new home, and now I have a new hand knit. So that's worked out really well. And the other thing was, what do you do when you're knitting something and you just don't love it? In episode 1 and 2 and 3, my really early episodes, I was knitting Pink Fizz by Andrea Marit, I think, and I had finished the back and the front. I had completed over 2/3 of the jersey, and it has sat here in my little office for all that time, for about 8 months, and I've looked at it in a tray on my shelves for 8 months. And when I filmed my last episode, I was waiting for it to upload. Just something went off and I grabbed it and I undone the whole lot. I ripped it out, and my theory is, and I've said this before, if in doubt, rip it out. And I'll get the yarn to show you. It was a wool linen blend, fingering weight, held together with mohair. And I wasn't sure how it was going to unwind. I wasn't sure if it was going to unwind easily, or whether, you know, with the mohair, whether it was just going to be set in place. And I didn't know if the wool was going to be able to be reused. But I was surprised that it actually pulled out really quite easily. And, oh, here it is here. I do have it. I knew I had it here. And sorry, bear with me. So that is what I got out of it. I unwound the whole back and the front, and as you can see, it's the mohair and the wool, it's kind of just become one, and it's just unwound beautifully. So I have no regrets at all. I actually feel quite relieved. It's like a weight lifted off my shoulders, because it just wasn't going to get finished. But it was also really good quality wool, quite expensive wool that I knew I needed to repurpose it. I just couldn't let it go to waste. And like I said, I actually feel like a big weight is lifted off my shoulders, because it's no longer sitting there frogged. It's actually now in these beautiful cakes. And I told you a couple of episodes ago, I found this pattern called Tulip. It's it there. And I love the way it's scalloped along the bottom. I love the wide neck. I really like this pattern. And it does call for a worsted weight yarn. But I'm going to do a swatch. And I'm going to work out what needle size I need to get gauge, and I'm going to use this. So for me, I just feel it's a win-win situation, because I bought this pattern and I wasn't quite sure of the yarn I was going to use. And then when I ripped this out, I just knew that it was a match made in heaven, and I want to cast this on very soon. And the funny thing is, I love this yarn again. Like, I wasn't in love with it when it was an unfinished project, but now I'm just in love with it again. So yeah, I just thought I'd share that story, that if in doubt, rip it out and repurpose the wool. I think our wool is too precious to not repurpose. And I know that you've all been in that situation where you've half knitted something and just thought, no, don't love it. What am I going to do? Rip it out. So yeah, that's what I did. Okay, now I'm going to share with you my whips, and I think I've got 5. And some of them you've seen before, but I'll give you a quick update. Okay. If you've been following me on Instagram and Facebook, you'll also know that I've just set up an online shop. It's really exciting. It's taken up a real lot of my time, but I just wanted to share that with you quickly. I will talk about it at the end of the podcast when I've talked about my whips and my things that I want to cast on. I'll talk about my online store. But I have had a couple of teething problems, and I'm not appearing yet in a Google search. It takes Google, they've said to me in a couple of days, in some cases a couple of weeks, before my site appears in a Google search. So if you were looking for it, it's unwindandknit.com or unwindandknitwithme.com is the only way you can get to it. But I will leave the links below, and I will talk about it a bit more at the end of the podcast. Yeah, it's a really exciting time for me. But let's talk about my whips. Marie Wallen, she's just released a new book. I haven't got it yet, but I really want it. But this is from her last book, cherish, and I've been knitting this this jersey that features on the front cover, and it's called Aislinn, but that's it there. This was my 2022 challenge, was to do a Marie Wallen jersey. So I haven't rushed through it because I figure I've got the year to do it. And for a few weeks there it didn't get any love at all, which made me quite sad because I really enjoy it. But I wanted to just show you, let's pull my needles through, the progress that I've made. So I think last time when I showed it I was up to about here. I'd completed that to about there. So I've just done the next set of colours, which it's like a turquoise and brown, and now I've just gone into a grey and a silver, which you can see. And I just love it. I love the yarn, I love the pattern, I love the graph, I love knitting off a graph. It's very satisfying. It's also quite addictive because you do just want to get to the next panel where you have your change in colour. And I really do want to get more of this done. I get a bit sad when I see it just sitting there in the basket and I don't get time. And it smells so good. I just love woolly wool. I just love the smell of it. But that's my progress on my Marie Wallen. Super happy and super excited with that. And hopefully I'll have some more progress to show you. I'd like to, before my next podcast, get to the point where a bit of shaping occurs for the sleeves. It's been a little while since I've given you an update on my socks, and that's because I haven't done much, but I thought I'd just show you. These are the socks that I'm knitting at the moment, little ankle socks, and the yarn is from Narrative Yarns, which is here in Christchurch, and Indy Dyer, and I'll leave the link to her site below. You can buy her yarn through Facebook, but I know that she's going to be at Wool Feast here in Christchurch this year, which is next month. But that's my little ankle socks. But what I wanted to show you is this neat little bag that I've got, and these are actually on my website, and it's really hard to source good project bags. I find here in New Zealand it is, but I managed to source some of these. Perfect size. It's just a really strong canvas. It's quite deep. It holds everything. Holds my sock ruler, holds the pattern, holds all my yarn, and it's a perfect wee little project bag. So yeah, I just wanted to share that with you. Those sock rulers are on my website as well, if you've been after. I know I have been asked for these because I've talked about them before. But yeah, and those bags are, I think they're $40, $39. But yeah, just wanted to share that with you. My other project I've made no progress on either, but that's this jersey I was doing from the Strange Brew book. And I'm knitting this from cones. Da-da-da. And I did talk about Strange Brew, and you can buy the ebook through Ravelry, and it's amazing. It's a formula to do colour work jerseys, either top down or bottom up. The size goes from like a 6-month-old child right through to a men's XXL, and I encourage you, if you haven't looked on it, just jump onto Ravelry and have a look. You can buy it as an ebook, and I haven't got the price at the top of my head, but yeah, it's if you want to get into doing a bit of colour work, or if you want just some basic colour work, yoke patterns for the whole family, jump on and have a look. I won't go on about this because, like I said, I really haven't made any progress. The time I have had to sit and knit and do colour work I've spent on my Marie Wallen. But that is one of my other whips that I wanted to share with you. And I have 2 more. So this one is by Isabel Kramer. That's it there, viola or virgiola. And what really drew me to this pattern was that the feature down the sleeve, that cable work down the sleeve. Other than that, it's just got a tiny bit of lace work at the front, and all the rest is stockinette stitch. So last time I showed you I had just divided for the body. I divided for the sleeves, and I had just done a couple of inches on the body there. And I have finished one of the sleeves. So I mentioned I like to do the sleeves before the rest of the body, because you're turning your work a lot. It's a lot easier not to have all that bulk from the body while you're working your sleeves. But the other reason too is because I find that when you try it on as you go, you get more of an accurate fit once the sleeves are in place. That's just my thoughts. But that's the lace work there, and that's the whole, goes right down to the whole length. And I've just stopped there. I've put my work on my cables, and I won't do the band until I finish the other sleeves and I do a final try on, so I know exactly then where I want both my sleeves to finish. So I'm really happy with that progress, super happy. I was trying to work out how I'm going to block these sleeves, because I think they're going to need to be blocked quite well to so that lace work pops, you know, it's going to need to be blocked. And what I thought I'd do is I'm going to go off to a party supply shop, and I'm going to see if they sell those long skinny balloons that for parties, and I'm going to blow up 2 long skinny balloons into my sleeve so as though I can stretch that out to block it. So it sounds a bit weird, but that's the only solution I could come up with to block the sleeve. So when I do that, I'll photograph it and I'll show you, and I'll see how I go. But my plan is to put the balloon in the sleeve and just blow it up while it's in the sleeve until it gets to the right size that I'm happy with, and then just let the garment dry over the sleeve. So yeah, really happy with that. My plan is, by the time I see you in 2 weeks for my next podcast, my plan will be to have the second sleeve finished and maybe a bit more work on the body. The body's at that stage where it's fun to knit. It's TV knitting, it's just stocking stitch with no decreasing or increasing. So I have actually put that back on the needles, because the other night I was sitting there and I just wanted to knit something easy. So I took this off my cables, put it back on the needles, just so I had something easy to knit. Yeah. So that's my viola, which I'm enjoying. And once again, I'm knitting that from a cone as well. It's so nice, it just comes away really easily. You're not always tugging wool off the ball, and there's no joins. But I know I keep going on about cones, but they're my new best thing. My next project, it's actually in this beautiful bag that I got from the Woolly Thistle out of the USA, and it's a Harris tweed bag, so I think that's quite special. And not a lot of progress, but what I'm knitting here is a singlet. I wanted an undergarment to complement my my handmade wardrobe. I've got my skirt, my jersey. I thought it'd be really nice to have an undergarment. So it's the Ripple bralette, but I won't, sorry for that reflection. I have shown you before, but it really is just a basic singlet. It's a 3x3 rib there. And then when it's long enough, it's just, yeah, just a basic singlet shape. I'm loving this yarn. It's from an indie dyer here in New Zealand called Purple Sprouting. And it's 50% merino, 50% silk. And the colourway is Life in a Glass House. But every time I look at it, it reminds me of Moe's Water Lilies. It's showing up there beautifully. It's super, super soft. It's like so soft, which is why I chose it, because as an undergarment close to skin, I thought it'd be really nice to wear in our winters. I don't think I'd wear it on its own. One of my daughters might. But yeah, so that at the moment has become like my sock knitting project. It's that little project that I just grab on the way out if I'm sort of stuck somewhere and want to do a bit of knitting. I have done a bit of this in the car when we've done a few road trips. Yeah, just really nice, easy knitting. And the other thing I love about this singlet is it's a really good pattern for those one skeins that you've got at home, which I know we all have, those one single skeins that we've bought on impulse with no real purpose for, and they're here, lost in my stash. So if you've got one of those one-off skeins that you haven't known what to do with, yeah, have a look at that that pattern, bralette. I will leave the link below. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was actually 6. That's all my whips. So there's a few there. The tulip jersey with that pink yarn that I just pulled out from my pink fizz. That is one that I want to cast on. But I have, I've actually got 3 patterns here that I want to show you and share with you, and the wool that I want to use to cast them on. So I'll just get my things and I'll show you those patterns. Okay, I'm going to share with you some projects that I want to cast on in the very near future. And my goal now that I have Facebook set up is that I'll be able to share my progress with you regularly on Facebook, and there can be a little bit more interaction. So if you're a Facebook user, I hope that, yeah, I hope you come along on the journey with me. So my goal is to cast on another cardigan, a steeking project. I did my first one late last year, which was the Budding cardigan by Anna Johanna, and I was super stoked with it. I do wear that cardigan quite a bit, and I was actually quite surprised at actually how easy it was. I did post a wee video in one of those episodes of me actually doing the cut. And you know, people say breathe, take a deep breath and relax, and I did all of that, but it was surprisingly easy. So I do want to combine a little bit more colour work with a steeking project, and I found this pattern and I have shared it with you before. So it's Kristen Drysdale, and I think she has released a book called Scandi Work. So I haven't read, she actually features in one of my liner magazines that I've got, and I do want to read the whole article, but I'm guessing that she's from Scandinavia. But this cardigan is called the Marit cardigan. That's it there. Now it's only 3 colours, but I also printed off these 2 pictures. So that's a picture of the back there. So it looks like quite a boxy shaped cardigan, and there's a photo of the front. And I love those big brown buttons that she's got on it. But I would love this cardigan, and I really do want to cast it on. I have, I'll share with you later on, but as you know, I've got an online store now, and I've got Jamieson Smith 2-ply jumper weight, which is really exciting because we've never had access to it here in New Zealand, and I've been ordering my wool from overseas, and quite often I pay in freight almost the value of the actual yarn. So that's really exciting. But anyway, so I've gone through and I've picked the 3 colours that I want to knit this jersey in. So that's the main colour, which is number 2. They call it a grey brown. And then I love this colour. This is Fc34, but it's almost a little bit mulled. It's just a beautiful turquoise colour, and this one is a brown, a beautiful brown. So it only requires 3 colours. I'll leave these colours in my show notes, but what I did want to tell you is that main colour that number 2, I have actually got that in cones. And in a cone is equivalent to 20 balls. So that's a colour option. But that is something that I am going to cast on very soon, and a project that I want to share with you on Facebook, my progress. So it is a, I think it's bottom up, I'm not sure, but it's a steak project, a steaking project. So yeah, if you want to do that, come along on the journey with me. That's the pattern. It's available on Ravelry, and the wool will be on my website if you're here on the Southern Hemisphere or in New Zealand. But the other project that I want to do, this is a smaller project, and I think it would be really good if you want to take the next step into colour work and you just want to delve in and experiment a bit. But it's also Kristen Drysdale from Scandi Works, and it's called the Lady Catherine hat. I think I mentioned this in my last podcast. I love the shape of this hat, but I just love the colour work. I think it would be quite a quick project that you could knit quite quickly. But I also think it's a really good project if you just want to, you know, you haven't done a lot of colour work, but you want to take that next step. This particular pattern though takes 8 colours, and these are my 8 colours that I've chosen, and they're pretty close to the originals. But the optic white, that's sort of the main colour, and then the other 7, aren't they great? The other 7 are the other colours that feature through there: green, gold, purple, blue. It's just outstanding. So that's the Lady Catherine hat. So I'll put the links for that pattern on my show notes, and I will also put all the yarn. But it would be a really good stash buster if you had a whole lot of fingering weight yarn, 8 colours, and you could easily knock that pattern up just with yarn from your stash. But I also think that I haven't looked at the exact meterage because it actually just says 1 ball of each. But I think you would have enough left over to possibly get 2 out of it. You may just have to shuffle some of your colours around. So you could even get 2 beanies, out of that lot. So that's that one. And the next pattern I want to show you is quite a big project. It's one of those projects, probably a bit like my Marit Wallen, where you think, this is a big project and I'm going to give myself a year, unless you're really dedicated and you knock it out in a couple of months. But this next pattern, Violet McQuaid. So I don't know of her, but it just really caught my eye on Ravelry. And it's called, I want to pronounce it Mayonnaise. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. I'm not good with pronunciation. But this is another steeked project. But it's all over colour work. And it actually has 9 colours. Now what I've done with this pattern is there's a lot of purple and mauves in that original one. And I'm not normally drawn to purple and mauves. They're not my colours. So what I've done is I've put together the 9 colours close to the original, which I'll show you. But then I've got another 9 colours which are more in my colour palette that I want to do it in. So I'll show you those 2 colour combinations that I think would work really well for this pattern. If you're keen or brave or silly and you want to take on a big colour work project, I'll show you those colours. Okay, so my pick for the mayonnaise, sorry, it's not my pick, it's the colours that I've matched as closely to the original pattern, are these 9. And as you can see, they're all in that purple, mauve, blue base colour combination. Now, is that not exciting? And I just like, look at the pink and this one here. They're real molds with flecks of, and this one here, it's just got flecks of different colours through. But those 9 colours just would work perfect for this pattern. It would be very close to the original. So that's Mioness, and you can purchase that on Ravelry. And it's a 9 colour pattern. And it's, once again, it's a steeked cardigan. I actually think that you could add a bit of length on that and it would almost look like a wee jacket, depending on how you wanted to wear it. So that's those 9 colours, but I'll show you my pick of 9 colours, which are a little bit more neutral and earthy colours. And just to, so there's a comparison, it'll be good to see the two. I'll show you that. Okay, so here's my pick. And this is the colours that I'd like to do the Mioness in. And as you can see, they're a lot more earthier, browns, blues, golds. And those 9 colours really excite me. I think that's a super exciting combination. So I will write all those down in my show notes. But in saying that, this may be a project that I won't cast on for a little while. I think I'm going to do the Marit first. I'm going to cast that on. I may even cast it on this weekend. As I said before, we're coming into winter and I actually think we've got a weekend where our high is in single digits, like 9 degrees high, and snow to low levels. Although we don't get snow here in Christchurch. Maybe once every 10 years we'll get a bit of a sprinkle. But yeah, it's going to be a cold weekend and I think it's going to be a lovely weekend for knitting. And I don't think I'm going to be able to hold back. I think I need to cast on something new now that I've finished my skirt. So that is my my list of things that I want to cast on that's new. So I'm just going to give you a wee little shop update. As I mentioned before, I've started an online store and that's unwindandknit.com. And I just want to give you a quick peek into what I have over there in my shop. So I'm just going to grab it and I'll be back. If you are from the Northern Hemisphere, America and Canada, and I know a lot of my viewers are from there, you're very lucky and you've had access to these yarns for a long time. But here in New Zealand, our supply of these yarns has been very limited. And I know myself personally, I've had to buy my yarn from abroad, which is what motivated me to get into this wee venture. But I now stock Jamieson Smith yarn. And here are, they are the 41 colours that I've brought in so far. So there's, I think 99, let's just say 100. I think there's 100 colours in that range. It's the 2-ply jumper weight, which is a 4-ply fingering yarn. There's around 100 colours. I've got 41 of them. And over time, with each order that I do, I will add more to the range. So if you jump on my website and there's specific colours that I don't have that you want, flick me a message and I will order them for you. I also brought in 4 colours in the cones. So there's a grey, a fawn, the light fawn and the natural. These cones are equivalent to 20 balls of wool. And it's no secret I love knitting off a cone. So I've only brought in 4, but if you are keen to do a couple of projects and there is other colours that you want in the cones, do send me a message via my website and I'm more than happy to add them to my next order. In saying that, when I order, there's about a 6-week turnaround time for the order to get processed, for them to do the yarn and then ship it back to me. So, but yeah, I'm more than happy to grow this little business and this little venture with you. I'm more than happy to order colours for you. Also on my website, I have a few accessory like sock blockers, sock rulers, my little project bag, which I'd like to add more bags. So if you're in New Zealand and you're a bag maker, please contact me. I'd love to stock some more project bags. And I also have a small range of stitch markers. I call them like my jewellery for my knitting. I love fancy little dangly things on my knitting. I've got some friends that don't. They like the really basic plastic rings. But I do have some fancy stitch markers, and they are all handmade by myself, by me. So every stitch marker is handmade. There are some there at the moment where they cost $7, and $3 of that I'm going to donate to the Red Cross appeal for the Ukraine Red Cross appeal. And also I am going to Wool Feast in Christchurch this year, and I'm going to take all my Jamieson Smith with me. But there I will have my knitting cables in blue and yellow, and $5 of every sale will also go to that charity. So I'm just going to let it all accumulate until the 19th of June for Woolfest, and then I'll let you know what the total is that we managed to raise for that worthy appeal. So, you know, it's little bits, but as knitters we all understand the you know, it's a what's the word, a cumulative effect. We all do a little bit, you know, a few stitches here and a few rows there, and it adds up into one big thing. So that's my theory, is that it's only small, $3 and $5 from each sale, but it will add up to hopefully maybe $500 or $600, and I will donate all of that to that appeal. And I think I've just about covered everything. So unwindandknit.com is my website. I am now on Facebook, and up until now I've just been adding a few graphics that have been designed for me, but my plan with Facebook is to share my progress. So if you would want to do the Marit cardigan or the Lady Catherine hat, which is one thing I'm going to cast on this week, I'll be able to share my progress, but you'll also be able to share your progress as well, and we can interact a bit more. And I will leave all the links below. So the patterns I've showed you, I will write down the colours. So if you do want to get those, you're more than welcome. Moving forward, when I get a little bit more comfortable with how to work a website, I will sell some of these as kits, so you can just go on and order the Lady Catherine kit or the Marit kit, which makes life easy and sort of exciting. But small steps, like there's a lot of sort of graphic IT stuff going on that is testing me. It's really testing me, so it might take me a couple of weeks. So bear with, you know, some of the little teething problems. But the website is up and running. You know, leave any comments, please, any suggestions. If you want me to order specific colours for you, I'm happy to do that. Just be aware of the turnaround time. And I think that's me all done and dusted for today. Once again, I just want to say a big thank you to all my existing viewers, and a big hello and welcome to any new viewers. Yeah, share the journey with me, and yeah, let's see what we can achieve. Stay safe, everyone. We're still very much in a bit of a growth thing going on here in Christchurch with COVID. It hasn't hit my household yet, fingers crossed. Yeah, but I know it's out there, so I just want to say to everyone, stay safe, be kind to each other, and let's do what we do best, and that's knitting, yeah, or spinning. I hope to do a bit more spinning. I have got some, I showed you on my last episode, some merino silk fibre that I want to spin, and hopefully I'll do a better job than this one. But no regrets, because that's turned into a beautiful beanie. But if you're a spinner, yeah, get your wheel out and do some spinning. Like I said, we're coming into winter, so what better time of the year to cast on new projects, take on new challenges. and share it. Okay, so once again, thank you. Just a big thank you. We've got to episode 20, and thank you. Stay safe, stay happy, happy knitting. Bye.